Later this week, the city will bury one of New York's finest, a 22-year-old police officer, Jason Rivera. He was shot and killed while responding to a domestic disturbance call in Harlem on Friday.
Yeah, his partner is now clinging to his life in a Manhattan hospital. This is just part of a string of shootings and violent incidents in New York City in recent weeks that have residents very concerned. On top of that, a baby was hit in the head by a stray bullet. A woman pushed on the subway tracks and killed. But now Mayor Eric Adams is unveiling a new way to take on crime, which has plagued the city less than a month into his term.
Mayor Eric Adams joining us this morning. Nice to have you back on Good Day New York.
Good to see both of you, and great to be here.
All right, so let's talk about your anti-crime package, which you rolled out yesterday. How soon can we see it actually in the neighborhoods that need it the most, and when do you think we might see some kind of change?
Well, first, Rosanna, it's just so important, and what I wanted to do yesterday with New Yorkers is to explain that we're dealing with a sea of violence in our city and our country, but there are many rivers that feed this sea of violence. We have to dam each one. The police department, they have been doing their job. Last year, we took 6,000 guns off the street. Since I've been elected, we took over 300 guns off the street. And so if we continue to see the flow of guns and the federal government is not damming their river, we have a problem. If we continue to place dangerous people back on our streets and our lawmakers are not having the right laws, we have a problem. If we're not prosecuting gun violence and that dam is not built, we have a problem. So we're going to do our job. We're going to reinstitute an anti-gun unit. It's going to take 3 weeks to get them out. But while they are being trained and getting the proper resources, we already have a team out there on the ground right now that's zeroing in on gangs and guns, and they're doing a great job. We just need help from our partners.
I hear you. So this anti-gun unit, is that the plainclothes officers unit, and are they in plain clothes, or do they look like police officers? Is this the same kind of unit that was disbanded under Mayor de Blasio in 2020?
Yes, here's what we are doing, and because I, as a former police officer, a state senator, I studied this problem. I fought against the abuse of our anti-crime unit, it was called at the time, and so I understand where we went wrong. Number one, our officers are going to be having a uniform apparel so that they are readily identified. In the past, they would jump out of the cars, not having anywhere being identified as a police officer. That is not going to happen.
But is that plain? But Mayor, with due respect, is that plain clothes? Does that put them in a position where they can't effectively do their job?
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, the unit that's on the ground right now that is taking a substantial number of guns off the street, right now they are in unmarked vehicles, and they are wearing full uniforms, and they are able to have the element of surprise because it's not a blue and white vehicle. So this is a smart way of policing and still being identified as a police officer. And they're going to have their cameras on, which is crucial, Rosanna. Now, if there's any form of dispute, those cameras will show exactly what took place. We have over 400 officers that are ready to come into the new unit that we're going to roll out. We're going to make sure they have conflict resolution, social emotional intelligence, the right training, the right officers assigned for the job.
Now, Mayor Eric Adams, I know a lot of people are happy and they welcome this plan and they hope the best for it. But you said that you do need help. You need help from Washington. We hope you get it. If you don't, you certainly need the help of Albany, and you definitely need the city council members backing this plan. How do you sit down and talk to someone, a specific city council member who has mentioned that the NYPD is the biggest gang? How do you communicate your plan to someone that completely disagrees with you?
Well, number one, I communicate with New Yorkers, and I find common ground with council people, with state lawmakers. Oftentimes, we look at the number of people that disagree with us on something, that we ignore the countless number of people that agree with us. I talked about this on the campaign trail, and the people of this city, they were not the loudest, but they were there to support. They elected me to be the mayor because my plan was very clear. This is not a surprise. I talked about how I was going to make our city safe throughout the entire campaign. And then let's think about this for a moment. I don't need state or city council approval to put in place the parts of the plan that I am in control of. The police department is controlled by the police commissioner, and the police commissioner is in lockstep with me, so we will be rolling out our plan as we convince our lawmakers on other aspects of damming the rivers that feed the sea of violence.
I think one thing that maybe a surprise, though, is the crime in the subway, as we've seen recently. You mentioned that you want to have humane responses for people who need help and have a history of violence in the subway. What does that look like? How do you get someone out of the subway with a history of violence by just having some mental health professionals there offering them help?
And that's a great question. There's a couple of things we need to look at with the mental health crisis in our city, and one of them is we have to be honest with ourselves. We have created an environment that we believe is more dignified for someone to live on the subway system, sleep on a grate, encampments in front of shops and stores. That is just not right, and it's not humane. We're going to partner police and mental health professionals to go in, give people the adequate resources, and if we identify someone that's dangerous to themselves, dangerous to others, we're going to escort them to the proper facilities to give them the support that they need. Now, again, we did 22,000 subway visits and inspections between January 6 and January 16 while I was in office. We also have 1,000 additional police officers doing inspection in our subway system. So we are having that omnipresence that's needed to have the feeling of safe, and we're going to crack down on the violence and make sure that we create a safe environment for the New Yorkers.
But are the mental health professionals or the help, are they going to be escorting the people out of the subway once they're deemed unsafe to themselves or to the public?
Yes, and they're going to do it with the manner of which they are trained. They know how to carry out this action. The subway is no place to use as your home. The subway is a place to commute you to your place of employment. And somehow we moved in a direction that any and everything goes on our system. One story over the weekend showed police officers watching people jump the turnstile without any interaction. Why? Because we said we stopped prosecuting turnstile evasion. That's just wrong. We can't continue to create an environment in our city that any and everything goes. Walking into stores, taking things off the shelves without paying for them, jumping turnstile, urination, defecation on our subway system. This is not the city that we want to live in, and we don't have to be heavy-handed to send a clear message that this is a city that residents deserve to live in a safe, clean environment to raise their children and families.
We agree with you, and we're wondering if the Manhattan DA is on the same page as you, and Albany, because you really have one chance to do a major ask in Albany for bail reform. And I'm just wondering, have you heard from anybody in Albany and whether they're on the same page as you?
Yes, there are many allies in Albany. I get calls all the time from state lawmakers stating that, Eric, what do you need to tweak the bills? We don't have to take away the amazing steps we're taking forward to make sure that we don't have a heavy-handed criminal justice system. But here's what's wrong. You cannot have a 14, 15, 16-year-old who's being exploited by adults to carry a gun. If this young person carries that gun and it's not in public view, he goes to family court, no matter how many times he does it. That's just wrong, and it sends the wrong message. We have created an environment in our city that it is all right to carry a gun. That can't continue, and we have to move away from that. And gun crime should be treated differently from any other crime because we have to be serious about it. We have to stop the sale of guns, not 10 guns more to be considered a person that's bringing in guns to the city for sale, but just 3 guns should be considered. We want to change and tweak these laws to make sure that we can have a safe city.
All right, you heard it here. New York City, you have been warned. Mayor Adams is on the case right now, not fooling around. We always appreciate you coming on Good Day, New York.
Certainly so.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good luck.